Once upon a time in a small village in the Middle East, there lived a young man named Ahmad. He was a skeptic, who didn't believe in the stories of Djinn and other supernatural beings that his village elders often spoke of. He thought it was all just myth and superstition, something from a bygone era. But one fateful night, Ahmad's skepticism would be put to the test. It was a dark and stormy night, and Ahmad was home alone. He was reading a book in the dim light of his lamp when he heard a voice calling his name. At first, he thought it was just the wind howling outside, but the voice persisted. "Ahmad, Ahmad," it called out, growing louder and more insistent. Ahmad felt a chill run down his spine. He got up from his chair and walked to the door, but as he reached for the handle, he saw a figure standing in front of him. It was unlike anything he had ever seen before. It was as if it was made of smoke and fire. Ahmad was paralyzed with fear. He couldn't move or even speak. The figure stepped closer and Ahmad could see that it had the shape of a man, but its body was made of swirling smoke and flames. It reached out its hand, and Ahmad felt a cold, burning sensation in his chest. He fell to the ground, writhing in pain. When Ahmad came to, he was outside his house, and the village elders were standing over him. They told him that he had been possessed by a Djinn, a powerful supernatural being that can take on human form and grant wishes. But it can also be malevolent and possess humans. The elders performed a traditional exorcism ritual to expel the Djinn from Ahmad's body. After the exorcism, Ahmad was left shaken but also curious. He began to research and learn more about Djinn and their place in Middle Eastern folklore. He discovered that many cultures in the Middle East believe in the existence of Djinn and take precautions to protect themselves from their influence. He learned that amulets and talismans are commonly used as a form of protection and that exorcisms are performed to expel a Djinn that is believed to have possessed a person. Ahmad also learned that Djinn are mentioned in the Quran and Islamic tradition, and that they are believed to be created from smokeless fire, and have free will like humans, meaning they can be good or evil. He also found out that Jinns are often associated with abandoned or haunted places, such as ruins, graveyards and deserts. Ahmad's encounter with the Djinn had a profound effect on him. He began to understand and respect the cultural and religious beliefs of his village and the importance of preserving their traditions. He also realized that there are many things in this world that cannot be explained by science and reason alone. From that day on, Ahmad was no longer a skeptic. He had a newfound appreciation for the mysterious and unknown, and he shared his knowledge and understanding with others in his village, helping to keep their tradition and culture alive. He even started to do more research on Djinn and other supernatural beings, and started a blog to share his findings and stories from other people who had similar experiences to his. Ahmad's village was forever changed by his experience, and the villagers were grateful to have someone like Ahmad, who could bridge the gap between the old ways and the new. They knew that they could always count on him to protect them from the unseen dangers that lurked in the night. Once upon a time, in a small village in the Middle East, there lived a young woman named Amina. She was a kind and gentle soul, loved by all in her village. But one day, her life took a dark and terrifying turn. Amina began to experience strange and unsettling occurrences. She would wake up in the middle of the night to find her room in disarray, as if someone had ransacked it. Objects would move on their own, and she would hear whispering voices coming from the shadows. At first, Amina thought she was just imagining things. But as the occurrences became more frequent and intense, she knew something was not right. She confided in her family and friends, and they immediately suspected that she had been possessed by a Djinn. Djinn are supernatural beings that are believed to exist in the Middle East and other parts of the world. They are said to have the power to take on human form and possess people, often with malevolent intent. Amina's family and friends knew that they had to act fast. They contacted the village elders, who were well versed in the art of exorcism. The elders performed a traditional ritual to expel the Djinn from Amina's body.
The exorcism was a grueling and intense process. Amina screamed and thrashed as the demon inside her fought to hold on to its possession, changing voices and insults to all the elders that were present to help her escape the possession of that demon. One man, the imam of the village mosque, stopped his prayers to step forward towards Amina, who was fixating on him like he was the most dangerous one in the group. The imam, Sheikh Abdul-Jabbar, called out the name of Allah as he reached out to hold her bigger toe between his fingers as Amina's cursing got a lot louder, like she was going through a different kind of pain with his small touch. "Leave me alone," repeated the ugly and loud voice coming out of Amina. But the imam knew what he was doing. And after Bismillah, he started reciting very specific verses of the Quran, as the other men kept reading all together in one voice. The curses from the demon got a lot shyer as he was clearly suffering. Amina's body was less agitated and easy to control. The demon could barely talk anymore, when Sheikh Abdul-Jabbar reached out to put the palm of his hands on Amina's forehead, saying the last part of the exorcism, "Get out of this body. You enemy of Allah. Get out, in the name of Allah." Amina opened her eyes after these words, looked at the Imam and turned right to vomit something black that smelled bad enough to repel everyone in the room. Everyone except Abdul-Jabbar. He was smiling and holding her head until she got it all out, then asked the mother who was present in the room to bring something to clean everything up. As Amina woke up, few hours later, she found herself in the mosque, with Sheikh Abdul-Jabbar, the old Imam, in the corner praying. As he heard her move, he turned around, smiling, relieved, asking how she is feeling. He, then, explained to her that she was under the control of a demonic presence summoned for her out of jealousy from some sorcerer. He gave her some holy water to shower with and walked her home to her parents, who were happy to see that their daughter came back to her normal state. After the exorcism, Amina felt a great sense of relief and peace. The strange occurrences stopped, and she was able to return to her normal life. She felt grateful to her family, the Sheikh, and everyone else for their support and their wisdom and skill in performing the exorcism, but Amina's experience had a profound effect on her. She now had a deep understanding and appreciation for the power of the unseen world, and the importance of preserving the traditions and beliefs of her village. She also knew that she had to be vigilant and protect herself from the dangers of Djinn and other supernatural beings. From that day on, Amina lived her life with a newfound sense of respect for the mysterious and unknown. She shared her experience with others in her village and helped to keep their traditions and culture alive. She even shared her story with one of our storytellers on this YouTube channel, Terror in the Night, to share her story and others like her to bring awareness and educate people on the existence and dangers of jinns and other supernatural entities.
Samir, a young teenager who lived in the bustling city of Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, was an intelligent and curious young man, always seeking knowledge and new experiences. Despite his love for science and technology, there was one subject that always intrigued him more than anything else: the occult and dark magic. Growing up, Samir had heard many tales of magic and sorcery from his grandfather, who was known for his captivating storytelling. These stories always left Samir with a sense of wonder and a desire to learn more about the mysterious world of magic. One day, while browsing through the stacks at the local library, Samir came across an old, dusty book that caught his eye. The book was bound in leather and had strange symbols etched into the cover. Despite feeling a sense of unease, Samir couldn't resist the urge to check it out and take it home to study. As he began to delve into the book, Samir was amazed at the spells and rituals contained within its pages. He felt like he had discovered a whole new world, one that was both captivating and frightening. He started practicing the spells in secret, feeling a sense of excitement each time he successfully performed one. However, it wasn't long before strange things started happening around him. Samir felt like he was being watched and followed, and he couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Despite the warning from his best friend, Samir was too deep into the magic to stop. He was determined to master it, no matter the cost. One fateful night, Samir performed a spell that went horribly wrong. He felt a dark energy take over him, and he couldn't escape its grip. He was consumed by fear and didn't know what to do. That's when he heard a voice in his head, taunting him and promising to never let him go. In a moment of desperation, Samir sought help from a local imam. The Imam listened to Samir's tale and offered to perform a purification ritual to help him rid himself of the dark magic. Samir agreed, and with the Imam's guidance, he performed the ritual. As the purification ritual came to an end, Samir felt a weight lifted from his shoulders. He realized that the dark magic had controlled him and that he had been foolish to think he could handle it. He cried and confessed that he regretted ever using the book. The Imam offered to help Samir on his journey of redemption, and the young man eagerly accepted. Over the next few months, Samir learned about the true power of knowledge and the dangers of ignorance. He learned to appreciate the beauty of nature and the importance of self-reflection. From that day forward, Samir dedicated himself to spreading the word about the dangers of dark magic. He warned others not to make the same mistake that he did and encouraged them to stay away from the dark arts. He returned the book to the library, hoping that no one else would fall into the same trap as him. Years went by, and Samir became known as a wise and respected member of his community. He never forgot the lessons he learned from his experience with dark magic, and he lived the rest of his life with a newfound appreciation for the power of knowledge and the dangers of ignorance. Several years had passed since Samir had rid himself of the dark magic that once controlled him. He had become a respected member of his community and was known for his wisdom and advice. However, despite his newfound peace and happiness, Samir never forgot the lessons he had learned from his experience with dark magic. One day, while on a trip to the neighboring city of Riyadh, Samir heard rumors of a mysterious book that was said to contain dark magic spells more powerful than anything seen before. The book was said to be hidden in an ancient temple deep in the desert, and many had ventured out to find it, never to return. Despite the danger, Samir felt a sense of obligation to investigate. He felt that it was his duty to prevent anyone else from falling into the same trap that he had fallen into years before. So, he set out into the desert, determined to find the temple and destroy the book. After several days of traveling, Samir finally found the temple. It was a crumbling structure, surrounded by sand dunes and dotted with ancient hieroglyphics. As he approached the entrance, he could feel a sense of unease settling in his stomach. Despite the danger, Samir pressed on, making his way deeper into the temple. He searched the dusty halls and explored the dark rooms, but he couldn't find the book. Just as he was about to give up, he heard a whisper in the shadows. It was the voice of the book, calling out to him. Samir felt a chill run down his spine, but he refused to be afraid. He gathered all of his courage and approached the source of the whisper. There, in the corner of the room, was the book, just as he had heard it described. He picked up the book, feeling its weight in his hands, and opened it. The pages were filled with dark magic spells, and Samir felt a sense of revulsion wash over him. He knew that he had to destroy the book, once and for all. With a deep breath, Samir summoned all of the strength and wisdom he had acquired over the years and performed a purification spell. The room filled with light, and the book began to glow. Suddenly, a figure appeared, a manifestation of the dark magic that had once controlled Samir. The figure taunted Samir, promising to never let him go. However, Samir refused to be afraid. He stood his ground and repeated the purification spell, this time with even more force. The figure vanished, and the book burst into flames, burning away to ashes. Samir breathed a sigh of relief, knowing that he had succeeded in destroying the book. He returned to his village, where he was hailed as a hero. Over the years, he continued to spread the word about the dangers of dark magic and the importance of self-reflection. If you like this kind of content, subscribe to Terror in the Night for more paranormal stories told from people all over the world. It is the best way to learn different stories and experiences of people who had encountered demons and Djinn and how they could get rid of them. If you have a specific story to tell, leave it in the comment and we will try to tell it in a video so that everybody listens and learns from your experience. Until then, keep waiting for another episode of horror.